Here's Scott telling about his early childhood.
We had what I called the chicken coop, where the boys stayed. Fanny stayed with Aunt Augusta, and the girls were in the house, I guess, but all I know is the boys were out in the chicken coop. And I was real young, but I was watching the ringer washer one day, and I thought that was the most interesting thing I ever saw. So I stuck my hand in it just to see what would happen, and it dislocated my shoulder.
That's where Fletcher gets it from.
I was playing Tarzan in an olive tree that was probably not taller than 7 foot, maybe. I broke my arm. Let's see, what else?
I didn't remember you broke your arm. I knew you fell out, but I didn't remember the broken arm.
I had, my arm was swollen like that, and I was so proud of that, I showed Aunt Augusta. I cut Ruth's thumb off. You know,
I didn't know that either.
we had a push mower.
Sure, yeah.
And I turned it upside down and pushed it so the reel would go real fast, and I was sticking grass in there. Well, girls don't understand things. So she stuck her thumb in there. She stuck the grass in there, but her thumb went and it cut the end of her thumb.
And you got the end of the thumb, and Mom tried to put it back on, but it didn't take. Right?
Well, no, she's got the end of the thumb, but it's messed up.
Yeah.
Dad was on 40 acres down the road, and I don't know if she sent you or she sent somebody to get him. And he came up with a mule.
Yeah, Mom was fundamentally a doctor nurse in the family because with 9 kids, there's always something going
Well,
wrong.
and she didn't get excited, you know. Nobody ever reprimanded me that I remember.
Yeah, Mom,
that was all before I was 5.
Yeah.
Because at 5 we went to the new house.
Yeah, that's about right.
That was in 1946. So.
Guys, you went through mumps and chicken pox and whooping cough and all these things.
Oh, I had malaria.
Malaria. You and Fanny had malaria.
Fanny and I had malaria.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I remember my brother Bruce and I were riding through the corral where we kept the milk cows. And I was riding behind Bruce, and I was maybe 5 years old, something like that. And as we went through the gate, I said, well, I want to take charge here. I want to ride the horse by myself.
Nellie?
Oh, I don't remember which horse it was, but anyway, he said, he finally gave in and let me do it. And as I was walking across the corral, he hit this horse in the butt with a corn cob. And so the horse took off, turned the corner, and I flew off, and I broke my arm. So I didn't learn about this till maybe 15 years ago or so. Bruce finally admitted that he was responsible for that. Anyway.
When I joined NCR, I joined them in 1964. And the guy said, we can't hire you. You're accident prone. They had asked for broken bones, and I had broke my nose, I had broke my arm, I had broke my wrist, I broke my tailbone, I dislocated some ribs.
So, hey, tell me about those. I don't know about all of them. How did you break all those?
In the Air Force, I was kind of a scrounger. And I asked the guy on the flight line for an inner tube off of these planes. And we had an inner tube that lying flat was probably 32 inches high. The service stations back then provided free air. And they quit giving me free air. They charged me to blow that thing up because it was so big. But I was going over the top of it, and one of my buddies came up through the middle, and his head broke my nose.
Yeah.
I broke my tailbone riding a calf in the corral right after we moved to the new house. And in the corral there were stumps. And I was riding the calf and I hit that, he pitched me off and I hit the stump like that and broke my tailbone.
Yeah.
I couldn't sit, stand, walk. I broke my wrist
See where
on
your
the
voice came from?
international pickup door. And I hit it so hard I bent the door out and slung the door open. And I slid on my back there at Haynes' house on Haynes Drive.
So you had a wreck there.
I had a wreck.
Yeah.
I hit a truck that didn't yield right away, but of course I was doing 50, 60, who knows. But I slid out onto the gravel. I was wearing a t-shirt, and it threw me out and threw me into a ditch. And Pete was with me. I had gone to pick him up. And he had slid under the heater. And when he got out, all he saw was my feet hanging out, and the truck was over me.
Ooh.
But I was in the ditch. But that thing ran on butane, and the butane line had broken. And it was sitting there pointing right at the battery. And so it was melting the battery, and the battery was dropping down, and I couldn't breathe. I had the air knocked out. But Pete was grabbing both of my feet, trying to drag me out from under the pickup. He thought I was dead. So, you know,
What about the spider web? The spider.
oh, well, I put my pants on and something was there that shouldn't have been there, and it was a black widow spider.
Ooh.
I had to ride the bus to, we didn't have a car at the time. I had to ride the bus to school, and then I had to walk to Dr. Holmes' office.
Oh.
And Mom had called him so he could meet me. And I went in and he said, "What's the matter?" And I said, "Well, nothing till I got here." And he thought I was being a smart ass. And he got all uptight. And I finally told him that no, black widow spider had stung me. And at that time, Mom had a guy coming out converting a pool table to a dining room table. And he picked me up at the doctor's office and took me home.
Golly.
So what did they do for black widows?
Oh, he gave me an anti-venom shot, but
Oh, okay.
I was pretty sick. That thing, you don't want to be stung by a black widow.
Yeah.
I've always said that I was glad I wasn't their mother.
Yeah.
I couldn't have handled all that stuff that they went through.
Oh, God. I wonder, if you ask the same question of John and Peter, how many bones they broke.
I have no idea.
I don't
They'd
either.
blame it all on me. Like I blamed everything all on you.
I blamed it all on Bruce. Poor Bruce, he was stuck. Who did he blame it on? Gosh, I'm going to stop this here. It's getting maybe a little long.